Church. Welcome to Calvary Church at Home. We are in the book of Colossians, the final chapter, chapter 4, and the last 4 verses. So I grew up in a family that took me to church every week, non-negotiable with my parents. You get up on Sunday, you go to church. If I ever asked my parents, hey, are we going to church this week? I'd never ask that question.
January 29.
Like, are you breathing?
Today's February 1st, 2023.
Holy place upon that new block that they put up on the Georgia Guidestone. Oh, my phone's going dead. How funny. I just had 44%. 44%. Isn't that funny? Watch my battery life, guys. It started at 44%. Now it's at 7. I mean, can it get any weird? You know what's happening. So,
Yes, 44%. Right here at Eagle Drive, the Eagle Doctor, right here, and OsPrayer.
The great Oz has spoken. Oh, pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
Well, Christoph.
The Eagles score 44, which is 5 touchdowns and 3 field goals. 19 hours ago, February 1st.
like their dad got a tattoo on their arms depicting 5 crosses.
4 years ago.
5 crosses and 3 crowns of Jerusalem.
That sounds like 5 touchdowns and 3 field goals. Score 44, which is 5 touchdowns and 3 field goals. So first, it's 35 points for 5 crosses. If I'm connecting that correctly, it's 7 points for each one. So 5 touchdowns would be 35 points.
1750 from Egypt.
And
they still have a parlor in Jerusalem's old city, meaning William 35 could pop in again one. Pop in and get one.
Pop in and get one sounds like another touchdown, but from the other team. You know, the reason why I go over this is because this is the last video, June 3rd, 2018. This is the very last video that he did live as he was talking about William heading over to the other land there, and then he disappeared.
Power just went from 44 to 13.
So, Andrew, what do you think the score is going to be on the Super Bowl 57?
Convenient. 44 to 13.
How do you figure 13 in this equation? Because if I'm taking a look at If I'm taking a look at 44, which seems to be the number that you really like saying about how your phone shuts down at 44%, which is 44 altogether is 35 points plus 3 field goals. But 13, the only way I'm seeing a 13 here on this helipad, because the idea is to go back and forth from these 2 hospitals in Florida. Because I lived in Lakeland, I was born in this one. So I'm wondering, why was I born over here when I lived in Lakeland? And what's significant about it? The I is a 9, numerology. And there's 4 points on each side. 9 plus 4, that equals 13. 13 to 44, the envelope. So I think Kim Jong was supposed to give Trump some really big envelope, and he wore it as an apron. So I'll go over here to the regional medical center in Lakeland, where there's a football field right there that says L, as in L, the Almighty God Stadium. And going down here to where the elephant is in the room, the helipad here. It's a little different. It has a line in the middle, as in it can only be an 8. You can only translate that as an 8, because the other one can be an I universal or an 8, because it is both 848, 84084, Will Smith's badge number. So that's an 8 there, and it can't be a 9. It can only be a double E, back to back, mirror imaged, Enki and Enlil. But what I'm looking at here is the 8.5, 85, 8.5, 50, 50, 55, 80. How do you want to look at that? Well, I can take the 8 plus the 5, which is 13. So the 13 is right there. And then 50, which is the target of 17th and JFK, because that Chase Bank is the bombings on the back of the $50 bill. So you can get your 13 right here. Either way you look at it, if you want to go 8 plus 5 over here. And then the 50 is what's up next on the $50 bill. And on top of that, the over-under.
Bowl matchup is set, with the Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs set to battle in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday, February 12th.
Opening odds. What are the opening odds? What are the opening odds for Super Bowl 57? Love, 2. Second love. Second Super Bowl win for the Eagles. So here it is right here, to 49.5. So when you round it off to the next 10th, it's 50. The point spread is 50. The Eagles are given 1 point. Well, the Eagles are going to, if it's 44 to 13, then obviously they'd cover that. But I don't know what the odds are of all those stuff. I don't understand any other. $44 to 13. With the point spread, the over under at 50, 13. And then because the Eagles landed this file where the big baby's head is. Where the Eagle is, Eagle Drive, and OsPrayer, which is Kansas City, which is Kansas. There's the envelope with the score of Super Bowl 57 in it, and 44 plus 13 is 7, so they would score 57 also. So there's your envelope.
Why was Kim Jong-un's letter
5%.
to Trump so big? So remember, one of the ambassadors from North Korea to the United States came to the White House so that they could talk to Donald Trump about this summit. And if you look on Google, just say, why is the letter so big, or similar key searches, you'll see that there's tons and tons and tons of articles talking about this letter being so big. And so this is a big story. They want you to see the comedy in this letter being so big, sending him this gigantic letter. And Trump proceeds to hold it in front of his waist and show everyone how big, ridiculously big, this letter is. And all these articles are saying, well, why? And they say, well, it's just...
Oh, my phone's going dead. How funny. I just had 44%. Isn't that funny? Higher Ground Productions. So this is tied right back to Obama, Higher Ground Productions.
Well, I would say Trump. You might want to get to higher grounds during this time period. And the best higher ground to go to would be to go underground. I believe that the reason why the water is so lit up is because the water is so lit up. You see how it's like a different color than this? This is dark. This is getting lighter. Maybe it's the when you're going in, you go around to the checkpoint to Cat's Island, Devil's Point, Cat Island, and Cockburntown's Dixon. So it's Dixon because it's Cockburntown. It's Dixon and the Devil's Point. So I believe that the dolphin is like no other color anywhere on the map. You could even ask Mike from around the world. He'll show you. Yeah, Paul, there's nothing like it. Oh, wait, what's that? No, okay, so I could be wrong, but oh man, I don't even want to get into what's going on here. It's exploding out the back. And so, okay, under here is some bright, clear, clean water. Turquoise is what it is. But around America, all around the entire America, there's no colored water like the dolphin in the sea. You know why it's lit up? Because it's lit up. What do you think's underneath of it? What's underneath of here is underground mansions. Well, maybe not exactly underground mansions, but meaning there's no actual mansions under there as an actual city itself. But there's an area that is lit up, and what it is when you're in your mind, just like Andrew was saying, he was trying to catch up on the people that he loves in his head.
Sorry, things have been on and off. I'm just catching up with people I love within my mind.
So I take that as metaverse. You're in that city. You're over there underground where there's mansions. And like Derek Rose, when he had that woman on, the guest, They were talking about the mansions underground, or where you're promised, where in the Bible it says, paraphrasing, that my Father has many mansions where I go to prepare a place. The one set of mansions is just, you're there, you're in your bubble, you're sipping on gin and juice all the time, the way Andrew's always drinking something and vibrating a lot.
Telling them I love them. So let's take a look about this special note. I'm making this video. I don't know who it's for, but it's for somebody for more revelation.
I'll take it. I'll take it, Andrew, years later, because that's the whole point. That's why you stopped as of June 3rd. This is your last video right here. Well, it's your last day. Share games, TV, movies, TV shows, matches with live stream, amazing moments. Hey, I don't think he wants to say anything too.
So first, we're going to take a look at this article once it's loaded. Trump to receive sealed letter from Kim Jong-un as U.S.-North Korea summit hangs in the balance. This was published one day
Another
ago.
goal.
Donald Trump is set to receive a sealed, hand-delivered letter from Kim Jong-un on Friday as negotiations continue over the proposed summit. The North Korea leader is expected to personally reply to the U.S. president's own letter calling off the proposed summit. The North Korea leader is expected to personally reply to the U.S. president's own letter calling off the meeting scheduled for June 20th. It's going to happen. Mr. Trump's message on Mr. Trump's message on 24th of May complained about the regime's tremendous anger and open hostility. Hey, brother. Will this tattoo that he will be defiling his temple with, will it open a portal up for something to enter him?
Yeah.
Well, let's read. Will Prince William get a tattoo during his trip to Israel? It's a royal family tradition. When Prince William jets off to Israel next month, he will make history as the first official visitor from the royal family to the country.
So Prince William jets off to Israel next month, and Prince William hasn't done a video since almost 5 years ago, because he jetted off to where you're at. He jetted off to Israel. But which one? There's that land over there, then there's the literal land, there's the spiritual land, and then there's like the metaverse land.
There's a note. Take note of that.
So with Joseph finding his brothers at Dolphin, and this is Higher Grounds production, and it's all lit up, and it's so different. Even the mouth. See what comes out of the dragon's mouth is a flood of lies. So the flood of lies can flood out the internet, jumping the shark, NASA, like Nassau. This is the capital, so also, see that hook right there? See that hook in the jaw, pulling out that slanted serpent? Come on, son of a bitch, I know I've been looking for you for some time. Go. Come on.
And they're tied together in the conflict over Israel in the Middle East. So you're starting to see this, the evil empire, as Ronald Reagan called them, working with these bad characters. But at the end of the day, the hook is in the jaw. The hook is in the jaw. We're in the last days. We can't stop prophecy, but we're watching things develop. Jesus is coming soon. I'm telling you, he is coming soon. And there are going to be events that take place that are going to move us ever so closely to recognizing it. Remember what the Lord said to the prophet Amos. He said, for the Lord can do nothing except he reveal his secrets to his servants, the prophets.
Because it has that look where it's coming out. It's protruding, something's protruding out. You can say it's a thumbs down, or you can give it a like, right, Jacob? Israel? You can give it a like and give it a thumbs up. Because at that area there, it looks like the hook. And maybe this is the bait. Is that the ear and the nose, the neck? Oh, I see what it might be. I see what it might be. Enter your face here. Lake Killarney. Killarney. That's a killer one. A knee slapper. If you turn it this way, kind of looks like my dad. Looks like the devil himself. See that? The eye, the other eye there, the nostril, and the mouth, the jaw coming down. Looks pretty vicious. So I think the hook, is whoever's face fits. Am I the bait? Well, what is it? Is that grass? Or is that a swamp? Because that's definitely an ear. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says. I believe it's swamp water. All this is grass, trees, whatnot. Looks like it shoots something. That is a hook. Needle. Anyway, so far that's what I see. And also has a see-through underground kind of glass bubble, clear top all the way across. So underground, it's all lit up because there's underground cities there. Like Jacob said, there's mansions. It's at least that thick from there to there. Look, you can just basically see the lights underneath of it. In just these lit up sections.
For the Lord can do nothing except he reveal his secrets to his servants, the prophets. God is giving supernatural revelation to many of us who are led by the Spirit of God into prophecy, and we are seeing things develop that the Bible said would happen.
That new block that they put up on the Georgia Guidestone. Oh, my phone's going dead. How funny. I just had 44%. Isn't that funny?
Yep. Because it's at 13%. And 13 is on top of the Lakeland Hospital, and 44 is on the ground level at where the Eagle has landed.
A huge day. The 13th of this month, after Trump goes and meets with Kim Jong-un,
13.
aka Ching Chang Ming. PNC fundraiser 4 minutes ago. Right. This is a huge date.
What date is that? June 28th. So you're saying 13 after. There's a problem here.
This coming up 28th of June. 44% on my battery life.
Again?
All right.
Boy, I'll tell you, that 44%. And then June 28th, 44%. June 28th, Ornet, where it says 44%.
There's some things we gotta look at, so let's check it out. Oh yeah, June 28th, I believe, is Robin's birthday, and I've already done a decode on June 28th, 2018. Robin Henry T's. I should put. But yeah, there's a good link in that. There's a good tie into that, Robin. This coming up 28th of June. 44% on my battery life. All right, and I've already done a decode on June 28th, 2018. Robin Henry T's
There you have it.
Barack Obama to return to LA for DNC fundraiser.
There it is, Barack Obama to return. Robin, right. Please, Nephilim, please.
44-13.
So that's the final score of the Eagles.
It was intended on being just a pure white apron of lambskin. Thus, it will be seen that our apron is a very honorable garment. One
I've always heard this story told from this like really lousy position. Like this really miserable lady.
skin, pure white, without fault or stain, the color of the soul as the mortal man sees it. You think it is any coincidence that they would send him a letter this big? Which is not typical.
All right, guys. They're just zapping
All right, guys, I'm zapping my phone. They're zapping my phone on me.
U.S. currency reserves. On February 11, Bloomberg Business News reported that China was seeking guarantees
For a what?
for its U.S. government debt.
For
U.S. government debt. For its U.S. government fees. For its U.S. government debt. Story here. And it now appears the situation. And now
And that was me when I did the Wolf Blitzer. Also,
government. So once again, I did get a word from the Father last night, and there's a few people that can back me up on this. There will be China boots, and there will be boots on the ground of Russia and China.
Google China military boots. China military boots. Going in that direction. It's always going to be opposite, too. Every time I try to find a picture, it's always going to be opposite. Instead of going over there, it's in that direction. So that's a military China boot. It's interesting to me.
There will be China boots and seeking guarantees.
China owns your ass for money. Your ass is a planet. China may have created me if I'm a chip baby. Like if I don't even have a brain or an actual heart.
28th of June, 44% on my battery life. All right, there's some things we gotta look at, so let's check it out. Oh yeah, June 28th, I believe, is Robin's birthday. And I've already done a decode on June 28th, 2018, Robin Henry T's. I should put. But yeah, there's a good link in that. There's a good tie into that, Robin. So.
Thank you for all the information.
Okay. Ching Chang Man. That's AK, you know. But from the 13th to this date, a lot of things are going to take place. Keep your eye on it.
The 13th from that, 13 days from then is 7/11. Trump was there at 7/11. Trump received a letter. I don't know if it had the score of the Super Bowl on it, or it was just letting them know go to higher grounds because Florida's going to get wiped out by a tsunami. Because it starts to come up from here. It starts right about here. If this is an image of what it would look like with a bomb going off, so let's just say a bomb goes off in the water. Well, it's going to create waves. And these waves the mountains that are covered by the water is meant to look like a tsunami when it was created. Everything is by design. It's not, I don't think one image is even random, even in the pretend water waves. I don't, that's probably like 100-foot waves. Out of the mouth of the dragon is the flood. So where would the mouth go? Right here. Right at West Palm Beach. Basically right where the Trump International Beach Resort is. Not sure if I can find it without. Oh, and Hollywood. There you go. It started out of the mouth. If it started right here and 90 miles away, 100 miles away, Miami is right. This whole area here would be wiped out, which includes Hollywood.
New block that they put up on the Georgia Guidestone. Oh, my phone's going dead. How funny. I just had 44%. Isn't that funny? Higher Ground Productions. So this is tied right back to Obama, Higher Ground Productions home, and this is based out of Chicago, Illinois. Higher Ground Productions is the ultimate full-service company with ability to meet all our production needs. Okay, right here, the Obama's made a deal with Netflix. Conservatives call for boycott. Watch my battery life, guys. It started at 44%, now it's at 7. I mean, can it get any weird? You know what's happening. So right there it is. That's what I wanted to show you. That this is, there goes my phone.
Jumping the shark to get over there.
It's not about Jesus and you. It's about Jesus and us. That's why Jesus said, when you pray, don't say, my Father who art in heaven, but our Father who art in heaven.
Our Father. Our.
The picture that they would gather together in whatever home, the house of Nymphis, the house of Philemon, and somebody would stand up and read out loud the letter of Paul the Apostle, which means if your name happens to be mentioned in that letter, it puts a little bit of pressure on your life. And I'm saying that because just notice quickly verse 17, and say to Archippus, I'll get around to him in a minute, but say to Archippus, he's somebody that was in that church, take heed to the ministry which you have received in the Lord, that you may fulfill it. That would add a little bit of pressure, right? If you're reading that out loud, and Paul just wrote that, and your name happens to be Archippus. And I'll tell you why this is fun, is because did you know in the early days of America, the United States, early days of the church in America, there was a role in the congregation of the exhorter. And after the sermon was preached from the word, the exhorter would come up, and his job was to apply personally and directly the sermon just preached to the lives of people in that congregation. The lives of people in that congregation. Sure. And Paul needs to unstick him. And so he gives him a little bit of shove. Again, this is read publicly in the assembly. So the guy's up there saying, oh, and Archippus, here's a little PS to you, buddy. Fulfill your ministry. Don't stop. Keep going. Now let me refresh your memory. Turn, buddy boy. They were faithful. You can do it too. Now here's a thought. It's just I first moved to town, and when I did, a church in California sent me out with a check with $1,000. It's a lot of money in 1981 and 82 when we started. It's a lot of money today, but they wanted to just give a seed to this church in starting it. And it's a practice we have continued to do with other congregations. It's beautiful. So he's mentioned in Philemon, verse 2, it is believed by most scholars that he was the son of Philemon and his wife Apphia, who is also mentioned in that book, the book of Philemon. So it could be that he was his son, Archippus, the son of Philemon. Whatever his ministry calling was, we're not sure. It seems that he got stuck. And Paul needs to unstick him.
Again, Genesis chapter 31, and we left off at verse 43.
31:44, a day ago. $31 to 44. So slow. China boots on the ground.
If you recall, Laban, he insists to Jacob, after Jacob said that these belong to me, Laban's insisting back, no, they belong to me. In verse 43, and Laban answered and said unto Jacob, these daughters are my daughters, and these children are my children, and these cattle are my cattle, and all that thou seest is mine. What can I do this day unto these my daughters, or unto their children which they have borne?
1741. Together, Laban rose up and kissed Jacob. So let's say Laban rose up and kissed Jacob. The tongue, the top of the head. That's just an example.
Early in the morning, Laban rose up and kissed Jacob, and then his sons and his daughters, and blessed them. Did I read that right? I didn't, right? So,
Yes, sons and daughters rose up early. This is where the sun, it's like the sun rising up on this side here because they're all really bright yellow from this side here. And then everybody else is over here in that angle, over in that direction. A triangle going. Because I am doing the Illuminati, apparently. And everybody else is on that side facing the west. There. I'm over there on the east.
All the headstones are facing west where the sun goes down, representing like death. And there was one facing east, and the name is Gallagher. And it means descendant of a foreign helper. See,
Descendant of a foreign helper.
we were birthed into the serpent system, and
I could see that. The serpent for sure in the background. Perfectly.
our Father, El, the Almighty God, comes into their system, and he purchases us. He buys us with his blood.
Formally renounces Satan, and in some liturgies actually will make a right turn and face the east as opposed to the west, and say, I renounce Satan and all of his works. And
East,
turning to the east
west.
represents facing the rising sun, the warmth and love of God.
When the sun rises, it becomes yellow in your
How
face.
fascinating is that? I mean, that's just mind-boggling to me.
Yellow.
Here we go. Now let me play this little thing that
Side
happened
here.
to me for you guys. Doing it facing the same direction all here. They're all facing, this is a Catholic cemetery. They're all facing the same direction. They're all facing west. If you go this way, there's none they don't face that direction. And as the Lord brought me over here today to show me something, and I was like, what is it you're trying to show me? Everybody, so there's the east, there's the west. If you look at the west, you can see all the names, and so everyone's head is that way. So everyone's, your head is up there, where that's called the headstone. Okay, you can see all the writing, everything's facing that way. Now watch. I go this way, and there's one headstone that's facing the other direction. This is where the Lord brought me today to show me everything He's showing me is true. Gallagher, the one that's facing that direction, out of all these right here, is Gallagher. Do y'all know what Gallagher means?
Pinch cheek. My aunt used to pinch my cheeks. I forget, Aunt Karen, I think.
Descendant of a foreign.
And I was like, I don't remember, 4 or 5, maybe 7, 8.
Descendant of a foreign helper. I mean, insane that is what I'm showing you. Then I went to lunch with Corey, and we get in the car and we're driving off to go home. And I just looked at him. I said, this is so weird. I just hear the Lord tell me we're going for like a drive, and would bring him up and have him face west and denounce Satan and the works of darkness. Well, the sun goes down in the west. And then they would denounce Satan and denounce the works of darkness. And then they would turn him to the east and accepting Christ as their Savior. I find that fascinating because they would turn him the exact opposite direction, which is everything I show you all the time.
The thing is, he's definitely facing the opposite direction. I have the camera backwards. It's confusing. He's facing east. That way. There. He's facing east. He's even facing east. The one's head is looking in that direction, but they're all on that side over there.
Over and over and over again. Now, I want you to listen to this little documentary about them baptizing them. And then I'm going to show you one of the most crazy supernatural things that's happened to me. There's been a lot of crazy things, but this one was really off the charts.
And one of the ways that the early Christians made the greatest impact on the pagan world was their willingness to lay down their lives in opposition to Satan. Satan couldn't even fight against them by threatening them with death, that they could
That's because they knew how Christ really died.
overcome that because they knew that their Lord had also conquered death.
That's how you conquer it. By knowing the truth about it. But then again, I'm definitely sticking with 44 Eagles winning the Super Bowl. But now you got Genesis 31, 44-31, but at the same time, reverse that, because I don't think Kim would actually put the Super Bowl 57's score up there. But Super Bowl 57, 75 backwards, there's 75 points right here. The title, you see, I called it at 2 views. So I was the third viewer. But before that, later on, with 731 views, the full title came out. Genesis 31, 44, 32, 23. How a bad Christian can become a great prayer warrior. And then when I first got the timestamp, not that one. Yeah, I'm okay. Right here. With 2 views, it's almost like there's the score of the Eagles game. But the 31 can be backwards, 13, because that lines up with the heliport over in Lakeland Lakeland Medical Center. That's 75 altogether. 13-44 is 57. Either way, it's still 7 and a 5, 5 and a 7. So just don't be surprised if the Super Bowl winds up being 44-31. And whatever team is playing the home position, their name will be on the right-hand side of the TV screen when you're watching it, which would be that score right there. And then that would be the Kansas City Chiefs score. But if you just flip that and make it a 13, because it's either 44-17, 44-31, 44-13, or it's 35-9 to make it 44 altogether. And then that would be under 50. I mean, that could be it too, because the over-under's 50. Eagles are giving the Chiefs 1.5 points. And it just seems too easy to take that pick that Las Vegas is giving and then go 6 points under to make it 44 total. But you also have the 3 and 144. Either way, you're going to see this 44. The 44 is going to be in that Super Bowl. Whether it's the final score altogether, or it's the Eagles score, or they flip it and it's Chiefs score, or it's just the total of both of them scoring together. But 3 touchdowns. I mean, like Andrew Pardon said, 5 X's and 3 crowns. So if a crown is considered a field goal, which is 3, and an X is considered a touchdown, then you would have 44 altogether, which is 5 7-point touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, which is 35 points total, which is 3 5s. And then 5 touchdowns and 3 field goals for Kansas City, scoring only 9 points, would be 3 and 5 again, 3 5s. So I want to go through these because the time is limited in my life. Incredible example of recognizing true God, but he still keeps his idols. And that's referring to the heavy burden that you have with just as long as you don't, lay your heavy burden upon other people. Isn't that funny that Laban is an incredible example of recognizing for a guy who's so wicked and worldly, he sure knows how to pray. Look at that. Incredible example, but he still keeps his idols. Look, if you're keeping your idol, but you're fulfilling Scripture, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing to fulfill Scripture. And then when you're done that, then you go back to your original life. That should give some hope to some hope to you. That should actually give you some hope. 43, 49.
For a guy who's so wicked and worldly, he sure knows how to pray. That should give some hope to you, huh? That should give some hope to you. From Esau's hand, from my brother's hand, because I'm scared of him, lest he will come and smite me and the mother with the children. So notice this honest, open confession to God. He says, please save me. I'm begging you. I'm praying to you from Esau's hand, from my brother's hand, because I'm scared of him. Otherwise, he's going to come and then he's going to kill me, and even the mother with the children. Now, I find it interesting that he says singular mother with the children. So perhaps he still had that selfish nature in mind about Rachel, his wife. Or it could be a metaphorical phrase where he is referring to all the mothers, but it's just used in the singular term. So either or. Verse 12, and thou saidest, I will surely do thee good, and make thy seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. Jacob holds God to his word again. He says, you said, I'm going to certainly do good things for you. I'm going to make your children, your offspring, as numerous as the sand of the sea that cannot be numbered. So he quotes his word again. Now notice how often he quotes God's word. It's important within your prayer lines that quite often there are those verses in between. That'll be good. And ask you, who are you guys and where are you going and what are these things in front of you at your presence? Verse 18, then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my Lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. Okay, yeah. Meaning in verse 18, Jacob says, then you're going to say to Esau when he asks you that all these belong to your servant Jacob.
You said behind us?
Behind us. Okay. Verse 18, then thou shalt say, they be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my Lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. Okay, meaning in verse 18, Jacob says, then you're going to say to Esau when he asks you that all these belong to your servant Jacob's. It's a present sent for you, my Lord Esau. And behold, also he is behind us. He is behind us. Okay, meaning in verse 18, Okay, meaning in verse 18, Jacob says, then you're going to say to Esau when he asks you that all these belong to your servant Jacob's. It's a present sent for you, my lord Esau. And also, he's behind us. And so commanded he the second and the third and all that followed the droves, saying, on this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when he find him. So he commands also the second drove, so not just the first drove. He commands the second drove, the third drove, and all the other droves that are behind the third one, and says, you're going to say on this manner. You're going to say similarly this way to Esau when you find him.
So it would only make sense that this would be Esau and this would be Jacob, with wearing Esau's hairy garment as they're both there, hiding in the background, supposedly hiding. I'm actually surprised anybody thought that this wouldn't be like, you just wouldn't see that. How would you think that you can hide that anyway? As if it blends into the background when it's purely, my mom's hair is attached to Jacob's hair, and then Esau has long hair attached coming down there, and everybody's hair is attached, and my sister's sticking out her tongue, if that's even my actual sister, or maybe this is the other side of the family that's, up there. Does he have different colored ears? Does he have different ears? This baby here?
They be thy servant Jacob's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau. When Jacob said, hey, your servant Jacob's behind us, that's what you're going to tell my brother Esau. The reason he said that was, Jacob says to himself, I'm going to appease him with the present that's in front of me, all those gifts. And then after that, because I'm behind all those gifts, he's going to anticipate me. And then when he sees my face, possibly he's going to accept me after that. This guy worked hard, okay? He worked hard in his plan. Verse 22, and he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. So Jacob, he got up that night.
Passed over the what? What do you do? The ford Jacob. Passed over the ford.
And he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. So Jacob, he got up that night and then he took his 2 wives and then his 2 women servants and then.
Now, you could look at this as a wife, because the tail, right? And then there's two women servants. There's 3 adults here. So 3 adults, 2 wives.
And his 11 sons, and then he passed over the ford Jabbok.
11 sons, my other 11 brothers, or 12, or 11.
And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. So he takes the children and the women, and then he sends them over the brook Jabbok, and then he also sent over the stuff that he had. So it's meaning his presents, his gifts. So he sends them along with them. Now, for some of you who don't know, if you look at verse 30, that's Peniel, right? That's where Jacob went. Now, look.
He rose up, 57.
That night in the company. So the verse is summarizing. So these gifts went on in front of Jacob. They went on their way. And Jacob himself, he stayed over the night with the company that he's with. Verse 22, and he rose up that night and took his 2 wives and his 2 women servants and his 11 sons and passed over the ford Jabbok. So Jacob, he got up that night and then he took his 2 wives and then his 2 women servants and then his 11 sons, and then he passed over the ford Jabbok. And he took them and sent them over the brook and sent over that he had. So he takes the children and the women, and then he sends them over the brook Jabbok, and then he also sent over the stuff that he had. So it's meaning his presents, his gifts. So he sends them along with them. Now, for some of you who don't know, if you look at verse 30, that's Peniel, right? That's where Jacob went. Now, look at what's going on here. Jacob, he goes to Peniel, and then his wives and children, he sends them over the ford Jabbok. But then when you continue onward at chapter 33, verse 1, how did he divide the group? So he had a bunch of presents up ahead of him.
33.
Onward at chapter 33, verse 1.
My onward. Chapter 33. Chapter 33, verse 1. So you got, if you start with zip code 33, 1, then go from there, then it's 2, and 33, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that'll get you to 33803. 33803 is Ariana Street. 338. All these other ones are basically in the 8s.
Chapter 33, verse 1. How did he divide the group? So he had...
By starting from zip code 33, 1. 33001. So there, it looks like down at the bottom is 33-1. And then, man, you got a lot of kids, don't you? Laban and Jacob. Got a lot of gifts to give.
Had a bunch of presents up ahead of him. And then he has another backup plan where in verse 1, when Esau's coming down, he divides the children in verse 1 with Leah, then with Rachel, and the 2 handmaids. So he had 4 other groups prepared. 4 other groups prepared. Then in verse 2, he has the handmaids and the children at the front.
4 other.
Leah and the children behind, and Rachel and Joseph behind. Now, notice that Jacob, he's a wonderful father and a loving husband. He still picks favorites again. Notice Rachel and Joseph are the 2 special elites for him, and they have VIP seats. Then Leah's in front. See, he still mistreats Leah, okay? He still has that problem. And then he's got 2 handmaids over there, plus a whole bunch of other groupies with gifts in front of him. The selfish nature is still Jacob. He's a wonderful father. The handmaids and the children at the front with Rachel and the 2 handmaids. So he had 4 other groups prepared.
It's like they're waiting in line to take pictures. The other families.
4 other groups prepared. Then in verse 2, he has the handmaids and the children at the front.
At the front.
Leah and the children behind, and Rachel and Joseph behind.
Rachel and Joseph behind. If it's like a mirrored image.
Now, notice that Jacob, he's a wonderful father and a loving husband. He still picks favorites again. Notice Rachel and Joseph are the two special elites for him, and they have VIP seats. Then Leah's in front. See, he still mistreats Leah, okay? He still has that problem. And then he's got two handmaids over there, plus a whole bunch of other groupies with gifts in front of him. The selfish nature is still there. It's even worse because once you see that order, notice who's the one who's really behind.
He's really behind everybody.
Jacob. But it's even more so when you read verse 22 and 30, like I mentioned before. Because when he sends him over the brook Jabbok and he's at Peniel, supposedly he's going more behind the group and the wives are up ahead. Such a coward, man.
Servant and his 11 sons went over to Ford Jabbok. So ain't that funny how the Ford dealership's right there? And Esau is coming down 58:30. I already got that one. Leah, Rachel, and the two handmaids. He and had four other groups.
Because in verse 23, what makes me see it that way is in 22, when he sends over the wife and children ahead of him, verse 23, he sends the gifts over there too. Why? That's deliberately done to appease the wrath.
Other evidence. There were maps that were released. I think Putin released some maps. I don't know. I didn't do a ton of research on it, but I did find it interesting. You could check out that YouTuber on the bottom of the Vindom. Yeah, check it out. See, learn more about the mud floods and the Great Reset that's coming. I think people can get. I think we can get a little bit too. I think we could get a little too in the weeds with things. You know, if you start on him, that's a clone, and people are like zooming in on the ear. They're saying, look, the ear is not the same. This picture right here, Stu Peters is like, come on, this is the two DeMars. And I'm like, maybe it's just a different camera angle. And then they're like, that's not him, that's a clone. And people are like zooming in on the ear. They're saying, look, the ear is not the same. This picture right here, Stu Peters is like, come on.
Well, yeah, the ear doesn't seem the same because it looks like it's this one here. It looks like it's shorter, but that's because it's well, is it the tongue of the person behind the kid? Or it's just blending in perfectly?
Come on, this is the two DeMars. And I'm like, maybe it's just a different camera angle, you know? Like, if I'm standing straight on like this, my ear's like this, it seems longer. But if I tilt my head back a little bit and then you take a picture from that angle, it looks smaller. That's a video right there that talks about perception. You know, that's like a silly thing. And then it just starts to get a little goofy when people are talking about these little things. Like, why would it matter? Like, if he passed away or not? If they want to cover up something, they could cover it up with a story. Another tweet out about his elbow, and like one elbow looks bigger than the other. And I'm going, well, you know, if you're like this, and then you're like this, your arm could look smaller and bigger, depending. It's just, I think people get a little bit too hung up in things. Like, what's going on with Pelosi, right? Not that Pelosi. But, you know, her husband, they released all of this footage. Here, And also when people are saying things like, hey, it's a clone and he's got a smaller ear, and I'm not saying that that's not the case, but I'm saying.
Am I a clone? I guess I'll find out, huh? I feel like a regular human being. I mean, I don't know.
And it's.
Or is that my evil doppelganger?
Like, these are the people that are reaching like millions of people. Then you got little old me. It's like it's hard to reach just, I don't know, 30,000 of you, which I'm not complaining, because I mean, my goodness, I love every single one of you. Novak, he won that 10th Australian Open, right? Making this now his 22nd Grand Slam title. Someone asked me what the 22 was.
'22 would be OsPrayer Boulevard, Bartow, Florida 33830. Text Joe 3033.
Picture going around of Trump. He had 47 on his shirt. Like,
so June 28th, I'll be 47.
He's going to be the next president. We know this, right?
Who's his vice president going to be? Trump?
Well, I mean, we don't know for a fact. We don't know that for a fact. Some people are thinking it could be Elon Musk because he met with McCarthy. Right? And there was that picture of Abraham Lincoln in the background. That's interesting, right? Wouldn't that be?
It would be interesting, Jacob, if you were really Elon Musk and were having these conversations with each other, just out in the open.
Because he met with McCarthy. Right? And there was that.
Only those who have ears to hear will nibble on the breadcrumbs that you're being given.
A picture of Abraham Lincoln in the background. That's it.
Abraham? Is that Abraham Lincoln? Nuh-uh. Abraham? This is just a weird thing that I'm involved with.
Interesting, right? Wouldn't that be interesting? Oh, what if they were on a ticket together? That would be interesting too. I did say
on the ticket together, Abraham and Jacob.
A long time ago that I thought that it would be Tulsi and Trump. I don't know why. But then I saw like a Trump account and they were tweeting out, would Tulsi be the best vice president? A lot of people think she is. Who knows? But he had that number 47 on him. And he also had on the collar MAGA, which we...
Coming up 28th of June, 44% on my battery life.
Come on, you can do it. You can make it. Come on, clear in.
This coming up 28th of June, 44% on my battery life. All right,
means witchcraft from
there's some things
Magi, Simon Magus.
Oh yeah.
Fake news. There's so much of it. Well, we can pray and we can hope.
Birthday. And I've already June 28th, I believe, is Robin's birthday. And I've already done a decode on June 28th, 2018, Robin Henry T's. I should put. But yeah, there's a good link in that. There's a good tie into that, Robin. So
whoever comes into being and whoever comes into power is going to make a difference in a good way. He also had on the collar MAGA, which we think she is. Who knows? But he had that number 47 on him. And he also had on the collar MAGA, which we know in Latin means witchcraft, from Magi, Simon Magus. Fake news. There's so much of it. I don't know. I don't know what that meant. He was wearing a jacket as some YouTuber or something, or an influencer who wanted to get a hug from Elon.
Nah. Whoa, what? Back up. Day 13, day 44. There you go. Eagles 44. Kansas City Chiefs 13. Super Bowl 57. Today is February 1st, 2023, 11:06 p.m. Because the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be on the left side, and the Eagles will be on the right side, because I believe they're playing as the home team.
As a rule to remember, the designated home team is the NFC team in odd-numbered Super Bowls, and the AFC team in even-numbered Super Bowls.
Yeah. Look at that. It's even 22. 2-2, 22, 2-2. The Eagles are on the right-hand side. So that fits perfectly with 13 to 44. So let's say the Eagles get the ball first. They get it, they go down, kick a field goal. Chiefs get it, they go down, kick a field goal. It's 3-3. Eagles get it, they go down, kick a field goal. Same thing, Chiefs do it, they go down and kick a field goal. Then it'll be 6-6. Then the Eagles will go down and kick a field goal, and then it'll say 6-9 at halftime. They do their halftime show and all that hoopla, and then the Chiefs come out, they get the ball, and then they drive down and they score a touchdown. Now it's like, oh, crap. So then they would be up 13, and that's the last time they score, to 9. 13-9. Then the Eagles, they score, then it's 16-9. Then it's 23-9. Then it's 30-9. Now we're in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, because when it's 30, I mean, not 9. Why do I keep saying 9? 13, 30, 23. 23-13. So they'd be up 10 points. It's in the third quarter. They're getting towards the end. The Eagles score again, and then it's 30-13. 30-13. They're up 17 points. The Eagles fans are feeling really good. They're going into the fourth quarter, and then they score another touchdown, and they're up 37-13. And then maybe the Chiefs try like a desperation, and they throw a pick six, and then the Eagles run it back to the house, and they're going to win the Super Bowl comfortably, 44-13. 44-13.
Man, he was.
Williams visit marks the first time oh, how convenient. My power just went from
Andrew, what do you think the score is going to be to Super Bowl 57?
44-13.
Oh.
44-13. 44-13. 4-13.
He was wearing a jacket as some YouTuber or something, or an influencer who wanted to get a hug from Elon. And he ended up getting a hug from Elon.
Elon seems taller than I thought. $44, 22, 44 to 13. 8 plus 5, 13. 50 is the point spread over under is 50. So you got the Chiefs, 13. With the I, it's 9. And when you take the 4 points, the 4 points of the cross, 4-pointed cross, plus the I, 9 plus 4 is 13. And then this is 44 for the Eagles. Kansas City is even the color in Pet Goat 2 with the teeth, because the Eagles green and Kansas City rolling in the tank came to the woman, and the woman that had the waving the white flag, basically because now that I see it's the Eagles are destroying they blow them out, so it's like they give up. And so she has the tiger on the back, which is the Cincinnati Bengal. And the Cincinnati Bengals, the score was 20-23. So that's showing you the year that the Pet Goat 2 video is happening. You have 23 here for that score. Haven't really added up the others. Pray that your flight isn't in the winter or on the Sabbath or on the winter. These two towers here. Looks like Liberty 1 and Liberty 2 in Philadelphia. And the William Penn clock tower.
I don't remember who sent this to me, but somebody sent it to me and they're like, check out his eye. And I was like, oh, and I zoomed in on Elon's eye and it looked like a slit, like he had like a snake eye or something. Once again, probably just the light. I remember a while ago, and I'm no alien, all right? I'm not connected to any organization or anything else. I'm barely getting by, just doing the best that I can. Please. You're the reason why I'm still doing this. Once you all take off, that's it. I'm going to go back to selling mattresses. Simpler days. I sort of remember somebody zooming in on my eye. And
what are you saying? This is you? I mean, has the hairy arm garment, the skeleton bone here, the red and ruddy one. And I know that Jacob tried to deceive his father, whether it's father in spirit or literal father, Isaac, in spirit, then putting on a hairy garment, trying to trick him. To see it. What a trick.
and saying, look, and I looked at it, and it kind of looked like a little slit too. So, I mean, we're not.
Well, yeah, that direction it does. So that must mean robotic. What you're saying? Pop it in.
To say that the guy's from another planet, we'll just leave that to him because he says that all the time. But the fact that it said James on it, it's James 22. I thought, okay, let me just look up James chapter 1, verse 22. And I got to tell you, it's actually it's really good advice. The book of James is in the New Testament. Okay, James is the English name for Jacob. It really.
All right, so you have.
Man.
You have 13 to 44. 1 day ago. Today's February 1st, 2023.
Marks the first time oh, how convenient. My power just went from 44 to 13.
And you got Kim Jean, January 31st, yesterday, a day ago, 3144. So just flip that one over there, and it's a 13. Because you can't, I mean, my goodness, you all can't directly say the score of the Super Bowl directly. So you have it, Andrew, which was 5 years ago. Yesterday, one witness with just, you can't reverse. You can reverse a 4 and a 4. It doesn't matter. So, but 3 and a 1 makes a difference. And as of yesterday, and then as of same thing, same day. So there's the 2 witnesses with the day 13, day 44, 44, 13. And then my own conclusion is that we're talking about the eagle 44, 13 is even in the actual heliport itself, if you want to get technical, because I is the number 9, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 points along with the 9. So 9 plus 4 is 13. The good steward. And so the eagle has landed, and they're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas. We're not in Kansas anymore. OsPrayer. Going over to Ford, whatever that was, sending the presents from 33, chapter 33, verse 1, starting down the bottom of Florida with all your guys' children's that you have. So there's literally four connections. Andrew and Jacob, and
he was wearing a jacket as some YouTube.
And Kim Jean, and Andrew's telling you about the China boots will be on the ground, and here's a China boot. And because that's 44, and 44, 31. And 13, 8 plus 5. And the point spread is 49.5, which is 50. Or the over under is 50. So there's literally 4 confirming witnesses that the Super Bowl will be 44 Eagles, 13 Kansas City Chiefs. It's 11:24 p.m., February 1st, 2023. I feel like I've pretty much caught up to everybody with these prayer requests. Oh, and once in a 50,000 year comet is nearing Earth, says just some random Danielle Banks. So Daniel and Banks, 17th JFK. You can bank on it.
DeMar's replaced with a clone because I see a picture that makes it look like they have 2 different ears.
Oh yeah, one more thing.
Man, how inspiring has it been going through the book of Colossians?
I would, if I was to guess, I would say this is Kim Jean.
Make some noise. Thank Pastor Skip for all the work that he puts into these sermons. I was so inspired when he was talking about the exhorter. I thought we'd just start right now. So if your name is Archippus, or you know me really well, you might want to watch out. If your name is Archippus, or you know me really well, you might want to watch out. The king is alive.
How convenient that you looked right at her and walked right in front of her when she said the king is alive.
By it been going through
and
the book of
Artemis.
Colossians? Make some noise. Thank Pastor Skip for all the work that he puts into these.
Skip talking about Artemis and starting your fulfilling your mission with your church, getting $1,000 from the church in California, but that was equivalent to 1,000 hours back then.
I was so inspired when he was talking about the exhorter. I thought we'd just start right now. So if your name is Archippus or you know me really well, you might want to watch out. I'm just kidding. But it is really important to apply what we learn.
Yeah, so it looks like you have the stabber. Looks like, and I don't know where it's at, but when Kim Jean was talking about he has to stab you for whatever reason, it's like getting stabbed. Yeah.
Once we walk out these doors,
Yeah, so it's a straight dagger. You might want to watch out if your name is Artemis, anybody.
I have two ways that you can do that. One, at the bottom of this little note card that you...
Yeah, at the bottom of this little dagger here, Robin.
You have in the bulletin, there are 3 points of application that we want you to follow when you go home today. And pray for you really quickly. God,
if I was to bet my life and I was going to get stabbed if I didn't get it right, I would say this is Kim Jean.
One of the chief political thinkers and writers of the period of the
French
Revolution and the First Empire. He was destined for the church, was educated by the Jesuits, became a licentiate of the canon law. Now, what's the canon law? That's that Council of Trent.
if we listen to your word,
Do you remember the Council of Trent?
and then apply it, Lord.
Did you forget?
It's not always easy, so Holy Spirit, I pray that you would empower your people.
All those things that I quoted to you from the Council of Trent?